Felipe, good morning. Can you hear?
Hello.
Hello, Felipe. Good morning. Oh, the sound does not come right. Do you hear well, Felipe?
Sorry, just a moment. I cannot hear you, but it's a problem in my setup. Just a second. Hello.
Yes, Felipe. Hello. Hello, Felipe. Can you hear?
Yes, it is.
Is it
Hello,
better?
hello.
Is it better?
Yes, yes.
It is better. Good
Thank
morning.
you.
Good morning. How do you do?
I'm fine, Eti. I'm just arriving from a a trip in a weekend, and just about to arriving and happy to be here in time.
Thank you. And how is the weather at the moment?
It's a beautiful day. It's sunny and not so cold, and it's really pleasant. It's a beautiful day here.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Eti.
Good to hear you. Thank you. And Niola, good morning. Can you speak?
Hello, good morning, everyone. Greetings, Ati and France. I'm well, weather is fine, and I'm happy to listen.
Good. Good to hear your voice. And friends, I see you here, and I hope that soon you will join us into this classroom. I see Venus here. Shalom and good morning. Ruth is here, and Yanis, and I hope you will join us. Do you have an access to the whiteboard by chance? Can you see the whiteboard, Felipe and Niola? Do you see it open in front of you?
I'm entering in the board.
Yes. And Niola,
It's
do
low.
you? Thank you. It's loading. Yes. And Niola, do you see the whiteboard?
I am following the whiteboard on YouTube, so there's a slight delay.
Yes, of course. Soon it will arrive, and we shall wait. Today we have prepared text from Weinreb and text from Ezekiel and another painting that I hope that we shall have the time to discuss all of those elements together. Here is Yanis. Yanis, good evening or good night. Can you hear us? Yes, I can see you here. And I hope that your microphone is connected, or soon it will be connected and we could hear your voice here. So, Felipe, since you have a microphone and access to the whiteboard, you see the text here from Weinreb, you see the text from Ezekiel, English and Hebrew. We see all of us, yes, this beautiful drawing about Ezekiel vision. This is a page from a book, and here I made a special cut because I hope that in one of the parts of the lesson we could look into these Hebrew letters which are written here in the message. So my question is, with what would you like to start? Felipe, Niola, Yanis, what would you like to start with? Weinreb, Ezekiel, the painting, Venus, what would you like to start with?
I would love to start with the Bible if possible.
With the Bible. Okay, let's do it. Text. So Venus says text here. So who would like to read 3 verses from Ezekiel 1? Yeah, you see the letters? Are they clear? Do you see them? soon, because you have a delay like 1.5 or 2 minutes. So I open Ezekiel at the center with large letters, and soon it will come out. Felipe, do you see the text?
Yes, I see now.
Good, good. So, who would like to read the text? Felipe?
I can read it, Eti, yes.
Thank you.
So let's read it. Ezekiel chapter 1, verses 1 to 3.
Yes, please.
Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river Chebar, that the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. In the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of King Jehoiakim captivity, the word of the Lord came expressly unto Ezekiel the priest, son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans, by the river Hebar, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So here there's a beautiful text from Ezekiel 1, and this specific text holds, so to speak, numbers, meaning in the 30th years, in the 4th and 5th to the months. And let's see how Weinreb reads this text or similar text, because in this chapter, chapter 8, in Roots of the Bible, he already prepares us and try to fix our, in a way, mistaken reading of the Bible. So this is the cleanup software that Weinreb tries to install in our mind while we are reading the Bible. Who would like to read and who can see the text? The text is about 4 pages from chapter 8. The chronology of the Bible. Yes, chapter 8.
I can see it.
Yes, you can see it. Yes.
Yes, I'll be happy to read.
Yes, here.
The chronology of the Bible. There are as serious misconceptions about the chronology of the Bible as about a great number of other aspects of the Bible, of the book. Although a great deal in this field thrusts itself on the reader to be taken seriously, people pass lightly over it and then remark superciliously that all this cannot be so anyway. One of the common misconceptions, modern in the sense of pertaining to these latter centuries, consists in looking on the Bible as a kind of history book relating events, especially of the national history of the Jewish people. That these events prove in many respects not to tally with each other, and with worse than that, cannot literally tally with reality, is rather painful. But all kinds of excuses have been made in connection with the age of the Bible, mistakes liable to have crept in the course of time, and not the natural childlike exaggeration perpetrated by primitive ancestors. What was left was quite worthwhile yet, and if one was not too critically disposed, the principal events might in broad outline be considered fairly correct. All the same, there is quite a lot that does not tally, and certainly not if one would care to take the details seriously too.
Thank you.
Oh, I can't see the top.
Yes, I just moved it that it would fit. Do you see the This is second page, sort
Ah,
of.
I see it
Yes.
now. After all the things we have discovered in the foregoing about the structure of the Bible, the question arises if the Bible, also in regard to its chronology, does not contain a great deal besides the historic account of a certain nation, however interesting this may be in itself. If the substance of creation were expressed by God in the Bible in terms of historicity also, then the years or days in the Bible would have to render that real structure. And as we have already seen in the foregoing, there is this crystallization in time, just as it exists in the Word and the image in space. Therefore, biblical chronology must render something different from the tale about the historical development of a people in antiquity. The fact that the Bible is still taken so seriously by millions of people shows that they realize that it is not only that, but that the Bible is infinitely more. Historically, the Bible is not incorrect either. The only thing is that the standards by which the Bible are to be measured are emphatically not our space time standards. If they were, they would lose themselves in endlessness, or they would create confusion in adding up dissimilar things. One of the very first facts which strikes us when we consider the Bible in its historical account is that the Bible evidently neglects to join periods of time together. In stating, for instance, that King David was born in such and such a year after creation, or that Joshua occupied Canaan in such and such a year after creation. It is not even mentioned in what year the great flood took place, although the year is easily to be computed from the text. Whereas in other fields, numbers are mentioned in scrupulous detail, and there are a great many added up for the benefit of the reader till he is bored to death. The Bible omits doing so with evident principled stubbornness where years are concerned. So there is something rather special about this adding up of years. The longest period of time the Bible mentions is the age of Methuselah, namely 969 years. Nowhere do we find the number 1000, let alone any number beyond 1000. And those periods of the first decade of generations are very long indeed, as compared with the subsequent periods with their shorter lifetimes. The longest period found in the Pentateuch after this first decade of generations, ending with Noah, is the statement that Shem lived 500 years after his son Arphaxad had been begotten. And after this, the statement that the servitude in Egypt had lasted 430 years. And in the later books of the Bible, there is the statement that the temple was built 480 years after the exodus from Egypt, which is the longest period mentioned. A striking fact is, for instance, that when the kings of Judah and Israel are mentioned, it is always stated how long they reigned, but not how long their dynasty lasted, or how long it was after the building of the temple or after the disruption of the kingdom. If certain events in time are to be localized, For instance, the appearance of certain prophets. It is merely stated in such and such a year of such and such a king. How comfortable it would have been for the historians if there had been a statement in such and such a year after Adam or Noah or after Abraham. But no, to the contrary, when even a child might add it up himself, it is true there would be some difficulties on the way. It is evidently omitted on principle. Even in those places where there are no difficulties whatsoever in adding up, it would have been a small matter. Obviously, the Bible thus means to state that adding up periods of time cannot be done without more ado, because in specific cases, that is, cases when the Bible itself does not add things up, one would add up dissimilar entities. Something like 12 chairs and 3 tables make 15. 15 what? Not 15 chairs, nor 15 tables either. One might say 15 pieces of furniture. Surely, in that sense, one might probably also add up the years, provided one connects the conception year with the standard pertaining to it and does not continually make use of one and the same standard. Obviously, there is not a continuity in time, such as we imagine. For this reason, the Bible cannot add up the years in that sense. Adding up presupposes the existence of a continuity.
Thank you so much, Eniola. The question is what Weinreb tries to tell us here in this text. What is he saying? Venus, also you can answer, you can hear us, though there is a delay, so... What was the first, let's say, claim that Weinreb portrays in the opening? How usually people read the Bible? Which kind of people read the Bible and how they try to capture it, to sum it up? In what way? Yes, true, Venus. Yes, Felipe?
I guess it's a more material way to count the years in our calendar, and it's an urge to establish in space and time the truths of the Bible, and it's that's, I guess, what Weinreb tries to, and it is so hard for even for us to communicate with each other and with other people, because those numbers in Bible and those the people that want to, to establish things in the physical world, in it's a difficult battle to, to try to see the Bible as a allegory, as a dream, as something beyond, that speaks with our spirit and our unconscious.
That's
So
true.
it's a hard mission that Weinreb tries to clarify.
True. He even quotes that people take the Bible as a, let's call it, national reading of the Bible. Certain people nationalize what is written there, and it's theirs. So he tries in a way to to remove those barriers in our thought. In order, he just in a way takes the stones that are, this is how we grew up. Number is a number, a year is a year, and so he tries to remove those stones from our vision, that we could see clearly everything without any obstacle. To read it historically, geographically, archaeologically, to read it in a national lens. This is what is happening now in our time, also in the time of Weinreb and before. People say this is it, this place is holy, and so on, and this is very dangerous reading of the Bible, to read it as a, let's say, as a material document. It's quite dangerous. And the next step is to nationalize the Bible, annex the Bible, limit it to archaeological reading also is very dangerous. Good morning, Otoigo.
Good morning, Eti. Shalom, shalom to everyone.
Shalom, shalom.
Hello, good morning.
Now,
And
yes, Felipe?
it's interesting because he makes a point about the specifications that Bible make about numbers, and many times the Bible is so specific and details so much the measures, the counting of stuff, of years, of many things are really specifically counted and in Bible, and it's kind of I like what Weinreb says, that it's all it is actually a real counting, a real explanation of reality, but in another standards. So we kind of have to build up another standard, another kind of mindset, and another kind of standards to be able to approach this really accurate data that Bible give to us. So it's kind of it's a kind of how do we say that, a paradox. In one hand we have kind of fantasy numbers, let's say, like unreal stuff, because it's not aligned with modern science. Many things doesn't make any sense in our scientific mindset. And in another hand, we have this accuracy to describe numbers. So it's our modern way to look. It's kind of we are we get so angry with this because we cannot understand. We cannot accept the fact that it's so specific, but yet we do not understand, and that's what makes people want to explain everything and want to. There is a sad necessity, a sad urge to explain everything in this kind of material and rational thinking, Eastern rational thinking. And I guess the more we feel frustrated about not being able to explain, and it's really a challenge to change our mindsets and humanity mindsets for understanding this kind of reading that Weinreb's work tries to open for us.
Thank you, Felipe.
Thank you.
In the book of Deuteronomy, Moses prepares them and say, write this poetry. Hashira hazot. He calls the Bible, Moses, poetry, shira. And in this manner, this is very accurate. This is like poetry. It's not a text that, let's say, constructor writes to build a building, how much tons of concrete, how much tons of marble or so. This is not a quantitative document. This is the mistake that we usually do. This is why also Bala Sulam, Rav Ashlag, when he wrote his explanation of the Zohar, he just made a dictionary that separates. He made a huge work to write a new definition to spiritual, to read the words in a spiritual manner, because people read, let's say, Shemesh, this is sun in the sky. They think about the solar, let's say, that this is not about like physical objects. So he did a great work just giving those names and words their spiritual lens. And still people are reading the Bible, and people more than this reading the Zohar and the laws as physical document. It's not about it. Let's say, whenever we see the sun, and the word sun, not sun outside, but the word shemesh in the Bible, usually this is expression of mercy. And we think about the sun. Now it's hot days or summer. I mean, we have summer here, but it's the ability to express mercy. The book of Zohar, for instance, relate to the sun as Sfirat Tiferet, or as the heart locates the sun in the heart of a human being, solar plexus. So this is a completely different reading. There's a lot to say about this reading, but now I would like to move to the text of Ezekiel and to ask you here, before we see this beautiful piece of art, what is written here? What do you see in this text? There are numbers in verse 1. What do you see? Or how do you read it?
I couldn't help to think about the triangle 345.
Yes.
And the name of the name of Moses, and it was what came.
That's good. So, what do we have already in the first verse? If we have Pythagoras triangle, 3, 4, 5, or the name of Moses, what do we have already here in the exposition? It's good, it's right what you just said, but what does it mean when it appears here as a concept in the first verse of Ezekiel? Let me draw this, maybe it would be easier for people to see what you just said. When usually we meet this structure in the Bible, what happens usually when we find this structure? What kind of a communication is it?
I guess it could be a proper vessel.
True.
Like it was the proper time for, and the servant of God Ezekiel was available and ready to receive the light in this very moment.
True. And where does he sit? He sits where? Among captives? Yes, in English it's captive, but try to read here. Please, can you read the word here?
Agula.
Hagula. Hagula, this is exile. I'm inside within the exile. So the structure 3, 4, 5 appears already in the description to Ezekiel inside or within the exile upon the river Kval. Yes.
The word gula, the xylo, value of this word is 44. Gula.
Yes. Yes.
So
Gola. Yes.
the material without the one, because Adam is 45, right?
Yes, true. Exile is 44, like dam, like blood, the exile. Yes. And if we add Aleph, 1, we have Geula, this is salvation. Salvation is 45 as Adam, with the spirit. So, just to, to frame our thinking, whenever we see 3, 4, 5, there is an opening. Where the opening occurs, again, in the exile. Also Moses was there in Midian with a burning bush, and so, Ehyeh asher ehyeh, I shall be that I shall be, and then comes an entry. A new world is coming. Whenever we see 3, 4, 5, a new world is coming. But not just in the exile, which is Gola in 44, he sits upon the river kvar. Please look at the structure of kvar, the Hebrew. What is kvar? Kaf.
Like barach.
Yes, very good, like to bless. And let's see the value. Kaf, 20, bet 2, resh 200. So he is in the exile, Gola, upon the river Kvar. We can look at it as expression of duality. This is also. But also, another way to look at it, please pay attention. Yes. 2 in the power of 3. What is 2 in the power of 3?
See? No.
8.
8.
8.
8.
And then what happens? 2 in the power of 3, 8. The heavens were open, and I saw visions of God. Please pay attention to this mathematical opening. Three, 4, 5, within the exile, within the matter, within the blood, 44. Upon the river Kvar, that we can read it as full metary, 2, 2, 2, 222. Everything here is in 2, but we also can read it as blessing, as Felipe suggested, or we can read it 2 in power 3. This is 8, and then comes an exposition. Something happens. So, what do we need for salvation? Or a moment of creativity in our lives. This is where it boils down to. We need 3, 4, 5, and then the exposition, 8. The 8th sphere is being opened beyond space and time. And then comes a vision, a dream, idea, like a little spark of fire that leads us to go forward. It might be a tune, a word, a thought, a leaf, something that happens while we move in space. And this is the opening. This is not just the opening of Ezekiel dream. This is a mathematical description of a moment when something opens inside of a person.
See,
Yes.
the name of the river, Kavar, also could be reading as Behor, right? The firstborn.
Yes. Yes.
Then I remember the first fruits that we offer to the Lord or something
Yes.
like that.
Yes. The first fruit. Yes. Yes. This is the offering of Abel. He brought the first born. Yes. Yes. The Zohar says that the word kvar means in Hebrew also has another meaning, which means already. So already was. When we say, I've seen this, in English we say, I've seen already this movie. In Hebrew we say, kvar, kvar. I already have seen it. Kvar ha'iti oto, kvar. So he sits, and this is the reading of the Zohar. I sit within the exile or inside the exile upon the river that already was. So what is the river that already was? This is the question, and now there are many, many answers to this question. Because of course we don't speak here about geographical river.
Listen to you, actually, about this river that already was. The notion of time and space is completely different So it's something that could be beyond time and space, right? Because
Yes,
it's not linear.
yes, yes. And the Zohar says one of the explanation that the river that already was, it is the river. This is a reference to the river in Genesis 2. And a river goes out of Eden. The river that already was is the one which is mentioned in Genesis 2, the river, and the river goes out of Eden. This ancient river that nourishes everything. So, in this reading, I'm in the exile in the matter upon the river that already was. He was there once, the river that goes out of Eden when everything comes and flows. And in this moment, the heavens are opening. But again, this is not a description of history. This is what happens to a person in a moment of creativity, or when his heart is open to another person or to another option. It can happen any moment. It's a split of a second, this opening. Because it's not about sci-fi movie, because when people are trying now to paint a vision, we did not read a vision, the description, and so it's not about it. It is what happens to a person. This is very intimate with the contact with the spirit. Artists usually have this. What happens in the split of a second that a person has it? He has this idea, or he feels the music, or lyrics are coming, and chuck. It's not here in the room. Where does it come from? Where the music is coming from? A person takes a pen or colors and paints something, or a brush. Moment before he took the brush and put it in paint, there was nothing. It was like a white canvas. And suddenly he put the brush in a color and makes few movement, and then where does it come from? You say is his hand, but where does it? How does the hand knows how to move on a canvas? Who gives this notion to the mind of this person to hold a brush and to move in a certain way on a canvas? And this is the salvation, that a person sits in a room or in, let's say, a context, like something which is closed in his life, and suddenly a splash is coming. By the way, the value of Ezekiel is 156, like Joseph. Joseph is also 156, and this is 6 times 26. The spirit or the Vav from the Tetragrammaton. Everybody can have access to this. Because our natural tendency is to say, first we are born here as babies, as children, so the parents are the multitude, they are the kings, they know everything, they are our, let's say, window to the world. They supply everything through their lens, we see everything, because they are the first beings who are taking care of us. And then we have systems, educations, and so. And we always see, in a way, the reality through other people and through their perspectives. But we are going through distorted mirrors. And we think that he is great and she is great because we see a face on TV, on screen, or he is a great writer, or he or she is a great painter or a dancer. And whenever we think like this, we are deleting. This is one thing to say compliment to a person when there's a way to appreciate. But at the same moment, when we give too much glory to things that do not need this attention, and at the moment we magnitude someone, we minimize, or we deleting the moment in which we can flourish, because we look outside. We don't want to look inside. This is why we don't have those moments more often. Now I have another question. In verse 3, it is written, in the last few words, the Hebrew says, Vatehi alav sham, and there was upon him Yad Hashem, the hand of the Lord. In English, and the hand of the Lord was there upon him. What does it mean that the hand of the Lord is upon someone? What does it mean?
I think about this as a blessing.
Yes. Yes. It's not something external. True.
And it's interesting in the beginning of this verse. I noticed that once you teach this an expression hayo haya, it's like once upon a time. It's translated as once upon a time, like stories in
Yes.
fairy tale and so. And it's two times the being, right? It's
Yes, it's great, Felipe. It's the hand of being. The hand of the Lord is the hand, the direction of being. It's from the inside. I would say not persona is leading us, like the frontal mind, my name, where do I live, although in what I want to, but an inner stream of being is guiding us. This is the hand of the Lord. An inner stream of being. When in a way our Egyptian mind is being shut. What is Egyptian mind? The calculator. How many liters of gasoline I have in the car, what things I have to buy in the supermarket, quantity. Is it 6, is it 7, is there's a bus? This is Egyptian kind of thinking. A person has to sleep 8 hours. All kinds, if not, take a pill. when a person has, not person, when it happens to a human that the hand of the Lord is guiding him, he is in a mode of being. So the windows to the external world is being shut or dimmed, and there's like inner happening. It is very strong, because why Yad Hashem, or the hand of the Lord? Because at that moment you are in His hand. You don't do what you want. Everything is pushed aside. Comes something from the inner and settled inside of you, and it can go for hours, it can go for days, and it doesn't matter if outside there's a sun, there's the stars, there's a moon, there's a rain, there's a heat wave. It does not matter at all. Sometimes you don't need to sleep, to drink, to eat. This is how it is. Yes.
Can you relate this to
And Aniola, can you increase the volume of the microphone, please? If possible.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, can you relate this to Aish and Ish and the Yod?
The word ish, you mean the word ish?
Yes. Aleph, Yod, Shin,
Yes.
and the meaning of that word with and without the Yod.
Yes. Yes. The word ish is a man in English. In Hebrew, we can read also two other words inside. Esh, fire, and yesh. Yesh is a certain notion of I'm being here. This is one way to read it. And Esh is fire.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And just a hint about this choo 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 of the kevar.
Yes, yes, kvar, okay.
It's interesting that Ezekiel stands for 6 times the tetragrammaton, and
Yes.
the name Yosef, because Yosef has this perspective of the connection of the sixth, and the sixth sphere, and when I thought about Ezekiel sitting by the river of that sums up the six. It's like the river that he is able to connect with the upper spheres, and in a way make a unity, a tree of life.
That's true. That's true. Because the sixth sphere is Sfirat Yesod, and also both Joseph and Ezekiel are associated with Sfirat Yesod. And Sfirat Yesod contains the light or the message that comes from the other spheres. That's right. So you relate to Kvar as 6, as the value of 6, and you see this very good. This is your sword, and this is the sixth sphere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Sfirat Yesod is associated, this is also the Vav, spirit is both associated with Joseph, Yosef, and Ezekiel. Yeah. Very good, Felipe. And in a way, you arrive to the conclusion of the Zohar, the river Kvar, the river that already was, which is the one that mentions in Genesis 2, Venahar Yotze mi'Eden. When Eden is Sfirat, in this reading, Eden is Binah, and the river that goes out of Eden is the Vav, also Tiferet.
See,
Yes?
the name of Ezekiel,
Yes?
I don't know if I'm right, but the word Hazak, Het, Zion, Kuf,
Yes?
I believe that the meaning of this word in English could be strong or powerful,
Yes?
something like that.
Yes?
And I just thinking um, how this powerful, how powerful one could be to goes to this river to get this connection with God, to be the hand of the Lord or something like that. I just see the name of Ezekiel as a quality that one, uh, how can I say, we have to develop this quality to have this connection. I just try to think about this. I don't know if it makes sense, but this azak to get in connection with God. I don't know what do you think about this,
Yes,
and I please go
it,
ahead, please.
that's good. Chazak, it means strong in English, let's say, strong. and it is 115. What do I go? 115.
Yes,
Chet.
yes,
Yes.
115. Yes.
When Chanun is merciful. Merciful. Chanun. How much is merciful? 114.
114. Exactly.
114. So what is strong according to this reading? And who is strong? Is it the one who goes to gym class?
Oh, the one who is merciful with God, with the Aleph, with the Kolel.
Yes. The one who what? Holds inside of him what? The quality of mercy.
Mercy, yes.
Mercy plus one is strong. The more merciful a person is, the stronger he is. Because he can contain his mind, can contain different, how do you say, scenarios, scripts of reality. Because what reality is like a script. It's a new code, new letters, new numbers. Every moment that we experience visually, emotionally is a script. And how do we... So, and this is the strength of a person. Also, we spoke last week about the ability of containing the opposites. This is really it. And both of them, both Ezekiel and Joseph, are in the middle line here. On the tree, Sfirat Yesod is in the middle here. They hold this together. This is what makes them strong, is the ability to have mercy for the other.
It's amazing what you share with us right now. If you could go deep in this concept of mercy, to be mercy, because we use this word a lot of times, but um, what means the mercy exactly? Because sometimes it's hard. We use the word, but don't know exactly what it means. But it's amazing this relate with being strong and this be mercy.
This is a good question. It means that, first of all, it's a quality in the mind. In the mind. Every day brings moments in front of us, sometimes not pleasant moments or so. People do all kinds of things. Usually when there's extreme conditions, people behave in extreme way because they're also under those, let's say, moments of pressure. There's hard, let's say, heat wave now. It's very dangerous, and it influences, and people behave like unusual. So yesterday we used public transport, and you can see immediately the, how do you say, the pulse of humanity. If you take a public transport, people were just off, out to lunch because the weather was so extreme. We cannot leave the house. Just to give you an example, we can only go out after sunset, 7, 8 in the evening, 9. Before this is very dangerous to leave the house, like nuclear radiation. And people just, people are held up. It's like a lockdown, but not because of corona, because the weather condition is very dangerous. And people are popping up like champagnes in the bus or so, because they're already out of the house, already out to go somewhere, out of the walls, yeah? And people behave in in a certain manner because there was like champagne, shake the champagne inside, and then so a person could say, okay, turn to them, hey, what are you doing? You play your phones in public shouting, or you don't care about other people, and also sharing the same, how do you say, public sphere. There is a way to behave in public. But at some point, you can, I mean, a person could say, hey, what are you doing here? How do you behave? And turn to them. But at some point, you understand that they are being under some kind of an influence. And this is how their mind gives them this command to behave. What can you do? So you move to another seat and far away, and what can you do to tell them, hey, you don't behave like this, this is not a way, there's, even if you manage that for one moment to speak to someone, comes the other one and behaves the same. So this is like mercy. So you understand, this is the command that they get at the moment, and this is how they behave. This is it. In a way, I would say the one who tells you to move far away to another seat is the one who tells them to behave in this way. It's the same one. We, both of us, getting a command from one source. There aren't many, there's only one source in this life that nourishes all of us. But this one gets this command, and to another man he gets this command. Sometimes we don't like how other people behave, but they also get their command. So you understand, this is how they behave, and this is it. And you, how do you say, collect yourself into this infinite anonymous middle point inside of you. You pull back, very, very much back. And this is it. This is, you understand, this is also this is how they behave, this is their command. Not to go confront them. It will never help. Because they are also not in charge. You turn to them like they don't know even what they do. Why do they behave like this? Why? This is the command that runs the script inside.
See,
Yes.
if I understood well, you try to say that we, how can I say, we could be open, we could accept, we should accept what the heaven bring to us in our daily life, right? Trying to
Yes,
find.
yes. Heavens bring you yes, very good. Heavens bring us such a picture, a scene from a movie, from a theater. What do you do? What do you do? You understand this is a few station. What do you tell yourself in those moments? Everybody, it's 8 o'clock in the evening. It's 40 degrees after the sunset. Just to give you an example, not when there's a sun at 12 o'clock. After the sunset, it's more than 40 degrees, 40 and something. And it influences people. And you understand. So some people take, really 10 steps back because they understand it's really extreme. Some people do not know how to contain themselves. So they just, The cats are not out. The cats are hiding. It is dangerous. But us people, everybody wants to conquer. I'm missing the day out. It's a summer day. There's light, but it's also dangerous. So some people, the temptation of to go to the open light is great, and they go out and get like a smack in the head from the heat, and they don't even know that they are smacked.
T,
Yes.
we could say that sometimes it's necessary to read between the lines, right?
Yes. Yes. This is an excellent sentence that you say, to read between the lines. Great saying. Why? What are the lines are composed of? The lines. What do they compose of? What makes a line in a book?
Ink?
The ink, yes, or the letters, yes. Hayeled, the child. Let's write a sentence. Here, let's take a 1 second. I have to increase here. Lines, let's say, let's write a line. Hayeled. Hayeled is the child. Achal banana. He ate a banana. Achal banana. This is a line. And then beneath we can say hayalda achla tapuach. She ate an apple, the girl. What does it mean to read between the line? What does it mean to read between the lines?
To read which is not written.
To read, okay, because the line is the ink or the letters. This is the ink. The ink is usually dark, nachon? True? Not in this now, it's like pink, but usually the print on a paper is dark, true?
Yes.
So to read the lines is to read the dark, to read the letters, to read the body, because letter is a body. But to read between the lines, it means to read the light. What is the light? Is the system that circles all of us. So what does it mean to read between the lines? To read the whole system. Not just the letters. Between the lines, there's like white cloud. So to read the completion, to read the unity, not the separation. Aleph, Lamed, Bet. This is separation, the bodies, the multitude. But to read between the lines, to see the whole picture, including us inside. Otherwise, we just see slides, snapshots. The more we pull back, the more we can see the whole picture. This is the meaning of reading between the lines. Like you say, it's not just what is not written. This is one thing, but to try to see the completion, because what we see, the letters of the words, are just what particles.
It's interesting. I guess that it's what the text, the first, what the text first wants to explain, that this chronology, it's not the black ink. It's quite the opposite, actually. It's the white. It's the space between.
This is it.
And it's really popping in our daily life as well, because this kind of quantum physics and all these concepts that are aligning nowadays, that actually we do not know things by what we cannot say that we know things by what we see. It's what the things are, what reality is. It's not what. It's not just the black ink. It's really not. Actually, this is the minor part. It's nothing, and the big role is what it is between the lines. It's the light.
Yes. Yes. If you look at the street, yes, we are tamed like animals to look at the street to see the objects. A tree, a child, a swing, a car. This is how we read life. There's a school here, there's a bus station, there's a sea, there's a mountain. But what circles all of this? Encompass, we cannot imagine this even. We just see particles. We don't see the whole sphere. We see the tree. There's a road, and this is it. We are not tamed or trained to see holistic sphere, not in nature, not in ourselves, not at all. Just cutting, cut.
And Eti,
Yes.
just may I just ask a question about this?
Yes.
In the like in perspective of the spheres, we were talking about mercy and chesed. For me, I was thinking about chesed.
Yes.
And we say that this chesed is related with this space between lines, but then I instantly think about the crown, the Ein Sof,
Yes.
and the nothingness, and I think that how could we say that this chesed sphere, it's more connected with nothing, with this. I mean, what I want to understand is chesed is it comes first, right?
Yes.
It has.
Yes, Amazing Grace, this beautiful prayer song, Amazing Grace is the first. Is Ein Sof.
Yes.
Yes, Ein Sof Infinite is amazing Grace, yes.
So could we say that the infinite, this Ein Sof, is more related, is more, let's say it has a affinity. I don't know if this is the correct word. Has affinity with chesed more than the gevurah, the judgment.
Of course. Infinite is always grace. This is, we say the song, Amazing Grace. This is the infinite. This is the amazing grace, the infinite. Yes, there is Sfirat Chesed, yes, here. Day 1, Abraham, Sfirat Chesed here. Yeah, this is Chesed, day 1. But, of course, that Sfirat Keter is infinite grace. Yeah. Yes, in the middle, this is it. Of course. This is why the crown, Keter, we have this, how do you say, this crown is basically a ring. There's a space inside. If you look at the crown of a king, of a queen, it's basically a ring. It has a space. The space for air is the grace. It's not blocked with matter. The crown is a ring, yes? And inside the ring there's air, yes? And the air is grace. This is why we had this corona. Corona was expression of what? Lack of what? Lack of grace. Everybody wants wisdom. Everybody wants to have cars and flights and houses and just to milk from the world. Lack of grace brought the corona. The air was not enough grace. and the pandemic was related to air. So, dear friends, this is a very beautiful, unexpected conversation today, as it is when the
Thank you.
spirit comes. Thank you so much, and we shall see you soon, I guess. Thank you so much, and Shavuot Tov.
Thank you
So
very
thank
much.
you.
It was
Thank,
amazing,
Shalom,
amazing.
thank you.
Very
Shalom,
much.
shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
shalom. Shalom. Thank you, friends.